جاءكم رسول من أنفسكم عزيز عليه ما عنتم حريص عليكم بالمؤمنين رؤوف رحيم فإن تولوا فقل حسبي الله لا إله إلا هو عليه توكلت وهو رب العرش العظيم إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
الفاتحة لنا ولكم يا حاضرون ووالدنا ووالدكم وأهلنا وأولادنا ولمشايخنا ولمن حضرنا ولمن غاب عنا ولأحينا ولأمواتنا وللمعذبين على هذا المجلس ولمن كان سببا في جميعنا بأن الله الكريم ينور القلوب ويغفر الذنوب ويستر العيوب ويحفظنا بما حفظ به الذكر وينصرنا بما نصر به الرسول وأن الله الكريم يجعل مجلسنا هذا مهتنا بالخيرات والمسرات والأنوار والبركات ويقضي لنا جميع الحاجات بجاه خير البريات وأن الله ينصر المسلمين وعلانية الله الكريم ينصر سلطان الأولياء مولانا الشيخ محمد ناظم عادل الحقاني قدس الله سره بجاه خير الأنام وعلى كل نية صالحة مع حسن الخاتمة إن الموت بعد عمر المديد في طاعة الله وإلى حضرة النبي.
سر سورة الفاتحة. There's another group. Sounds like you guys.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
أنت سلطاننا يا ربنا اغفر لنا وارحمنا وتب علينا وزد حبيبك سيد الأولين والآخرين سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم زده يا ربي عزا وشرافا ونورا وسرورا وسلطانا ورضوانا رغم يكفي الشيطان ومن تبعه.
عباد الله
رجال الله أغيثونا بأهل الله وكونوا عوننا في الله أسانا بفضل الله ويا أخطاب ويا أنجاب ويا سادات ويا أباب وأنتم يا أولي الألباب تعالوا وانصروا لله عباد الله رجال الله أغيثونا بأهل الله وكونوا عوننا في الله أسانا بفضل الله سألناكم
مدد مدد مدد
يا سيدي مدد 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 يا رسول الله مدد يا أبو بكر الصديق مدد يا عمر فاروق مدد يا عثمان غني مدد يا إمام علي مدد 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 يا سيدي مدد 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 مدد
page 19, and reminder for myself that one of the greatest secrets of our way is that love equals faith. Love equals faith. And all of us trying to gauge the depth of our faith, trying to understand how deep is my faith, how can I increase my faith. And awliyaullah come because they are the people of Iman, and they directly link what Prophet told, that you cannot have faith and your faith is not complete until you love me more than you love yourself. The Prophet gave the example of the greatest love to have, the love of Allah and the love of His beloved Rasul Sayyidina Muhammad. Our life is about gauging that love. How much do I really love Prophet? How am I going to increase that love so that my faith will be increasing? Other than the arifin means that whatever they did, it didn't work. Because if they're not arif and they didn't reach to know, whatever they're doing didn't work. They didn't reach to love, and they didn't even reach yet to maqam al-iman. And all the talking, all the fiqh, everything that they want to talk about, if they didn't reach to iman, and the station of iman is drowning in the oceans of love, so then that is a great secret in which to contemplate. Ya Rabbi, that if I have iman then I must be drowning with muhabbat and love. And in every action that am I doing, am I a loving person? If not, I have no faith, not the faith that I should be having. If my actions are based on anger, agitation, harshness, thinking maybe Allah wants me to be harsh, I'll be tough with people, stern with people, harsh with people. That's not somebody from the station of iman. Awliyaullah come into our life and teach, no, these people of real iman, not self-proclaimed iman, because we can call anything we want to ourselves to this firearm check. But it's actually, no, there is a sign of iman based on muhabbat and love, and overflowing ishq and love. When that state of love is occurring, then they know that they are drowning in Allah's iman, and they see that love and they see that faith in everything. We pray that Allah increase us in the muhabbat and Divinely love, the love of the Divinely Presence, love of the most beloved of all creation Sayyidina Muhammad, and all those who magnify that example upon this earth. They feel, oh, my faith is going, Shaykh, my faith is going. What in essence you're saying is that your love is going. And that's why Allah keep reminding the heart of the believer that keep moving towards that muhabbat, keep trying to increase your muhabbat, try to increase your muhabbat. That's a direct link of Allah's most precious iman, directly linked to that muhabbat and that love, the hubba Rasul, inshaAllah. Page 19.
Ya Rasulallah,
سلام عليك يا رفيع الشان والدرج يا جيرة العلم يا مهيل الجود والكرم يحن من قومي به سكنوا وبه بالخوف آمنوا وبآيات القرآن ونوف فتعد فينا وغلواني يا رسول الله سلام عليك يا رفيع الشان والدرج يا فتى يا جيرة العلم يا مهيل الجود والكرم نرث البركة
سيدي يا سيدي محمد يا حبيبي، سيدي يا سيدي محمد يا حبيبي، حبك بقلبي راسي شرفي وعزي ونبراسي، حبك بقلبي راسي شرفي وعزي ونبراسي، رافينا لك على راسي رافينا لك على حبيبي، وبحجرك يا مزارة تفعل صلاة معنا، وبحجرك يا مزارة تفعل صلاة معنا، أنكم طه بتمرة أنكم طه بتمرة هم خير العارفين، سيدي يا سيدي محمد يا حبيبي، سيدي يا سيدي محمد يا حبيبي، يشرب طه بالقربة وصحابية من حبه، يشرب طه بالقربة وصحابية من حبه، سكت من بول شربة صلاة الله ما لا
كواكب على مدحي على مد خير من ركب النجائب مدى حديث باسم العبائب هذا السوق هذا الركائب صلاة الله ما لها كواكب على مد خير من ركب النجائب علم طرعا وقد مالته طاعة وصارت من منامها صحائب صلاة الله ما لهت كواكب على مد خير من ركب النجائب وتلك القوة الغدراء فيها نبي نوره يجلو الغيائب صلاة الله ما لهت كواكب على مد خير من ركب النجائب فقل للناس نونك والتمالي فما دون الحبيب اليوم عاتب صلاة الله ما لهت كواكب على مد خير من ركب النجائب نبي الله خير الخلق جميعا له على المناصب والمراتب صلاة الله ما لهت كواكب على مد خير من ركب النجائب ولو أنا عملنا كل يوم بأحمد مولدا قد كان واجب صلاة الله ما لهت كواكب على مد خير من ركب النجائب عليه من المهيمن كل وقت صلاة ما بدا نور الكواكب صلاة الله ما لهت كواكب على مد خير من ركب النجائب هم العال والأصحاب كورا جميعهم وإطرته العطائب صلاة الله ما لهت كواكب على مد خير من ركب النجائب
اللهم صل وسلم وبارك عليه وعلى آله. All those joining us on the internet, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jummah Mubarak to everyone. Inshallah, Allah will address us, bless us, and perfect our Jummah by sitting in the circles of Zikrullah on a Thursday night. Alhamdulillah. To increase the love. No love, no faith. You can have love with no faith, but you cannot have faith with no love. That faith is incomplete and imperfected. Inshallah, page 49.
الله 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 ما لنا مولى سوى الله كلما ناديت ياه قال يا ديانا الله 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 ما لنا مولى سوى الله كلما ناديت ياه قال يا ديانا الله
the connection and then you have to redo another connection for the broadcast? And you lose all the links that went with that. So that page 51.
الله عليك الله يا أدناني يا مصطفى يا صفوة الرحمن الحمد لله الذي أعطاني هذا الغلام الطيب الأرداني هذا الغلام الطيب الأرداني قد ساد بالمهدي على الغلماني يعيده بالبيت زيد الأركان قد صاره بالغ البنيان أنت الذي سميت في القرآن أنت الذي سميت في القرآن صلى عليك الله يا أكرمي يا مصطفى يا صفوة الرحمن الحمد لله الذي أعطاني هذا الغلام الطيب الأرداني هذا الغلام الطيب الأرداني أحمد مكتوبه أنا للغناني صلى عليك الله في الأعيان أحمده في السر والبرهان حقا على الإسلام والإيمان حقا على الإسلام والإيمان صلى عليك الله يا أدناني يا مصطفى يا صفوة الرحمن الحمد لله الذي أعطاني هذا الغلام الطيب الأرداني هذا الغلام الطيب الأرداني أحمده في السر والقرآن حقا على الإسلام والإيمان يا ربنا بالمصطفى الأدناني اغفر ذنوبي ثم حسن شاني اغفر ذنوبي ثم حسن شاني صلى عليك الله يا أدناني يا مصطفى يا صفوة الرحمن الحمد لله الذي أعطاني هذا الغلام الطيب الأرداني هذا الغلام الطيب الأرداني
اللهم صل وسلم وبارك عليه وعلى آله. Inshallah, page 76.
يا إمام الرسل يا سندي أنت باب الله مؤتمدي فبدنياي وآخرتي يا رسول الله خذ بيدي قسما بالناجمين هوى والمعافى والساقي وصباح الليل كونين
78.
مولاي صل وسلم دائما ابدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم. مولاي صل وسلم دائما ابدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم. يا ربي بالمصطفى بلغ مقاصدنا واغفر لنا يا مدايا واسع الكرم. مولاي صل وسلم دائما ابدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم. محمد سيد الكونين والثقلين خير الفريقين من عرب ومن عجم. مولاي صل وسلم دائما ابدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم. حق النبيين في خلق وفي خلق ولم يولدوا في علم ولا كرم. مولاي صل وسلم دائما ابدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم. وكلهم من رسول الله ملتمس غرفا من البحر او رشفا من الديم. مولاي صل وسلم دائما ابدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم. هو الحبيب الذي ترجى شفاعته لكل هول من الاهوال منقسم. مولاي صل وسلم دائما ابدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم. ولن يديك رسول الله جاءك به الكريم تجلى باسم منتقم. مولاي صل وسلم دائما ابدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم. فان من جودك الدنيا ودارتها ومن علومك علم اللوح والقلم. مولاي صل وسلم دائما ابدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم. يا نفس لا تقنطي من زلة عظمت ان الكبائر في الغفران قدما. مولاي صل وسلم دائما ابدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم. والله رحمة ربي هنا يقسمها تأتي على حسب النسيان في الحساب. مولاي صل وسلم دائما ابدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم. والطف بأمرك في الدارين إن له صبرا وتدعوه الأول ينهزم. مولاي صل وسلم دائما ابدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم. ودلسوا بصلاة منك دائما على النبي لمنعر ومنسجم. مولاي صل وسلم دائما ابدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم. ثم الرضا عن ابي بكر وعن عمر وعن علي وعن عثمان ذي الكرم. مولاي صل وسلم دائما ابدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم. والآل والصحب ثم التابعين له اهل التقى والنقى والعلم والكرم. مولاي صل وسلم دائما ابدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم.
اللهم صل وسلم وبارك عليه وعلى اله اشرف النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى اصحابه الكرام وعلى مشايخنا في طريقه النقشبنديه العاليه وسائر ساداتنا وصديقنا. الفاتحه. We talked the other night about the jinn world and these technologies, and that these creations, these technologies, these inventions and innovations were developed for insan to communicate with the jinn world. They want to integrate into the world of insan and overlap their world with the world of insan. From their home within the microchip and the concept where we left off at machine language is a series of 0 and 1. All the development of software and languages are needed to bring down the translation all the way to a numeric code in which they can understand the requests from insan. So modern day understanding of genie in the bottle is these technologies. As soon as we touch and rub the phone, visualize for yourself a genie has appeared and says, Master, what is it that you want? By fulfilling your requests they are acquiring your faith, because you believe more now in their power, more in their power, more in their power, that the belief in Allah begin to diminish as a result of them showing all of these powers to people. They say, oh, I don't know what you talk about, unseen. I have right here this power within my hand. In that house of their machine language and their silicone chip, because they live within the sands, their preferred environment is of the silica and the sand, is an electric pulse. So even the 1 and 0 is not understood by them, but the pulses of electricity, short pulse, long pulse, short pulse, long pulse. Those pulses of electricity, because the jinn are electricity, that is their communication. So no matter how much scientists try to explain a fax machine and tell you that this 1 and 0 goes in the air and lands on another device, and all these billions of 1s and 0s never converge and never make a mistake and never go to the wrong machine, because it's very simple understanding is there's a little genie on each chip. Every request within a fraction of what he promised Sayyidina Sulaiman, Ifrit, I take it. I take it but a moment or two. That every time you request a page from that house on your computer, they have little residency for us to understand. They immediately at an instant they conveyed what you're seeking, whether it was a paper, information, a document, and within a second they're back to retrieve it and to give it to you. Then imagine that all of their movements and what energy they are conveying, that when we're asking for things on the computer, with what energy these darker beings enter into, pull that and bring that back into our lives. If people could begin to see the amount of energy entering into their homes, what type of energies are entering into their homes, what type of realities these beings are bringing into their homes, they would be astonished. And even now they have places called the dark web, as if the whole web wasn't already dark enough. Where do they go to retrieve those very, very, very forbidden understandings and realities? And at the same they teach us, then the mu'min and the Muslim should be different too. Means that when the shaykhs are teaching and transmitting, they have their own regiment of jinn, that the ifrit can no way carry that signal, they will be burned. If they come and try to convey the signal of this zikr and these mahfils to anyone, they would be burned. So many times servers, routers and devices get burned by these signals. That awliyaullah are operating through heavenly connections, and the jinn that serve them are mu'min jinn. And as soon as they're going to broadcast that from the house of that device there's an entire regiment of jinn moving out to anyone who's seeking to log on. That the minute these beings are called upon through the live broadcast, they're coming like an army. إِذَا جَاءَ نَصْرُ اللَّهِ وَالْفَتْحُ. They enter into that premises and begin to do what they have to do. The majority of people, their lives are filled with darkness and they have a very difficult time whether getting here or logging on. But for us to understand the energy of it, just a very simple understanding of energy of it, is there's an energy being conveyed. Just with the darkness, there's an energy more powerful with the people of light. So then it's advised to log on at home and let the zikr play in the home. Because the energy of this association is a loaded energy with many of these Rijalullah. Is like, imagine like in old times, you take the old understanding with the new technology, they're mounted on horses ready to go. The gate merely opens and they've been given a command that go into that area. Within a fraction of a second, as soon as somebody logs on, there's an entire regiment of these jinn moving into that residence. And many times they'll turn the signal on and dishes and things will begin to break. Because when that energy comes, قَدْ جَاءَ الْحَقِّ, when the truth of Allah's light, the love of Sayyidina Muhammad begin to enter, it hits every falsehood. And Allah described falsehood by its nature is perishing, so it cleanses. When this positive energy and these ahbab and lovers of Sayyidina Muhammad enter into an environment, there's no shaitan who can stand in their presence. They run, and as they run they may break things and hit things out of despair, or you may hear noises as they run. So it means these are real energies. These are all a ni'mat and a rahmat that Allah send for the nation of Sayyidina Muhammad. But those energies, to make them available everywhere. As soon as they log on, that energy begins to cleanse their environment, cleanse their home, cleanse their room. Many beings are attached to it, and that everything they do must come with these beings. Because shaitan won't allow those knowledges, those realities, those talks and those zikrs to enter into his fortress. So he makes a fortress and darkens it with all his soldiers. As soon as they choose to take the way of haqq and listen to a talk, listen to the zikr, the lights of the Divinely Present begin to move, hit and enter into that area. By hitting and entering into that area, it gives the chance for that believer to hear that message. So every talk is loaded with energies. Every talk must come with an entourage of energies that hit and begin to enter into the heart. And that's why many of the comments on these talks and associations and broadcasts are that something has come into my heart when you talk and when you do your zikrs with people. I feel an energy, I feel a change. Yes, because Allah's holy words are true from Holy Qur'an, that when the truth comes it hits the falsehood, and falsehood by its nature is perishing. And our life was to seek knowledge, our life was to bring the truth of Allah into our lives. The highest truth of Allah is paradise. And the only place you can find paradise on this earth, not in any masjid, not in any home, unless the home has the halaqah of zikr. Only promise from Prophet was that go to the halaqahs of zikr, they are the circles of paradise. So it's a gift and a secret that can't be understood. With all that you do it, because it was mandated and ordered by you, by Allah. But if you want the lights of paradise, it's very simple. Find a circle of paradise and bring its sound into your home. If you don't live near one, log on. No one can have an excuse now, oh Shaykh, I don't live near zikr. Zikr now is as close as your mobile phone. Just like every other vice and bad action, Allah also made rahmah to be there, Jannah to be there. For everywhere shaitan is, there must be rahmah. We pray that Allah dress us and bless us with those lights, give us istiqamah and firmness to always represent the truth and make the truth to keep moving, inshaAllah. بحرمة محمد المصطفى وبصير سورة الفاتحة.
Place to plug in. Download the app.
Download the app right now. Because all the live broadcast articles, everything, the du'as, everything on the app. Many people are always asking about the du'as, make a du'a, what's the du'a, Shaykh? It's all on the app. All the du'as on the app are authorized du'as, and all the salawats are authorized salawats, inshaAllah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ماذا يا سيدي يا سلطان يا ولي مشايخ عبد الفايز الدارستاني، سيدنا الشيخ محمد نازل الشيخاني، ماذا يا سيدي يا مولانا الشيخ هشام الكباني، الشيخ عدنان الكباني، الشيخ محمد راجع، ماذا يا سيدي يا صاحب وسيدنا محمد المهدي عليه السلام. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله.
أستغفر الله
أستغفر الله أستغفر الله أستغفر الله أستغفر الله أستغفر الله أستغفر الله أستغفر الله أستغفر الله أستغفر الله أستغفر الله أستغفر الله أستغفر الله أستغفر الله أستغفر الله أستغفر الله أستغفر الله أستغفر الله أستغفر الله أستغفر الله أستغفر الله أستغفر الله أستغفر الله أستغفر الله أستغفر الله
أستغفر الله العظيم الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم وأتوب إليه إنه هو التواب الرحيم من كل ذنب ومعصية ومن كل ما يخالف دين الإسلام ومن كل ما يخالف الشريعة ومن كل ما يخالف الطريقة ومن كل ما يخالف المعرفة ومن كل ما يخالف الحقيقة ومن كل ما يخالف العظيم يا أرحم الراحمين يا الله. اللهم يا مسبب الأسباب يا مفتح الأبواب يا مقلب القلوب والأبصار يا دليل المطهرين يا غياث المستغيثين يا حي يا قيوم يا ذا الجلال والإكرام مفوض أمري إن الله بصير بالعباد.
Rabbi al-Sharif, Madad al-Haq, Hujjatullah al-Mukhlis, asking to always see ourselves at Rosa Sharif in the presence of Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Bimadadakum wa nazarakum Sayyidi ya Rasulika ya Habib al-Hasan.
فاتحة الشريف. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. صلوات الشريف اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد وسلم. 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 الشرع الشريف بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم اشرح لك صدرك ووضعنا لك وزرك الذي انقض ظهرك ورفعنا لك ذكرك وإن مع العسر يسرا إن مع العسر يسرا فإذا فرغت فانصب إلى ربك فارغب. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم اشرح لك صدرك ووضعنا لك وزرك الذي انقض ظهرك ورفعنا لك ذكرك وإن مع العسر يسرا إن مع العسر يسرا فإذا فرغت فانصب إلى ربك فارغب. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ألم نشرح لك صدرك ووضعنا لك وزرك الذي أنقض ظهرك ورفعنا لك ذكرك وإن مع العسر يسرا إن مع العسر يسرا فإذا فرغت فانصب إلى ربك فارغب. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ألم نشرح لك صدرك ووضعنا لك وزرك الذي أنقض ظهرك ورفعنا لك ذكرك وإن مع العسر يسرا إن مع العسر يسرا فإذا فرغت فانصب إلى ربك فارغب. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ألم نشرح لك صدرك ووضعنا لك وزرك الذي أنقض ظهرك ورفعنا لك ذكرك وإن مع العسر يسرا إن مع العسر يسرا فإذا فرغت فانصب إلى ربك فارغب. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ألم نشرح لك صدرك ووضعنا لك وزرك الذي أنقض ظهرك ورفعنا لك ذكرك وإن مع العسر يسرا إن مع العسر يسرا فإذا فرغت فانصب إلى ربك فارغب. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ألم نشرح لك صدرك ووضعنا لك وزرك الذي أنقض ظهرك ورفعنا لك ذكرك وإن مع العسر يسرا إن مع العسر يسرا فإذا فرغت فانصب إلى ربك فارغب. الله أكبر. إخلاص الشريف بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. الله أكبر. فاتحة الشريف بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. صلوات الشريف اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد وسلم. 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 اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد وسلم.
يا ربي وسجل أنبيائه ومرسلين بكل أجمعين والحمد لله رب العالمين. بشرف النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى آله الكرام وعلى مشايخنا في طريقة النقشبندية العلية خاصة شان نقشبند محمد ويس البخاري سلطان أولياء الشيخ محمد الفايز الدارستاني سلطان الشيخ محمد ناز ماد الحقاني مولانا الشيخ هشام كبان الشيخ عدنان كبان الشيخ محمد عادل ماد خالق البرشتواني صاحب زمان سيدنا محمد المهدي عليه السلام روح الله سيدنا عيسى عليه السلام سيف الله سيدنا عليه السلام ثم سيدنا أبي بكر الصديق سيدنا عمر سيدنا عثمان إمام الحسن السلام حسين السلام سيدنا فاطمة عليه السلام وسائر ساداتنا وصديقين على الفاتح.
فلمنه لا إله إلا الله 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 محمد رسول الله عليه صلاة الله لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله عليه صلاة الله لا إله إلا الله محمد حبيب الله عليه صلاة الله لا إله إلا الله محمد حبيب الله عليه صلاة الله لا إله إلا الله محمد خليل الله عليه صلاة الله لا إله إلا الله محمد خليل الله عليه صلاة الله لا إله إلا الله محمد صبي الله عليه صلاة الله لا إله إلا الله محمد صبي الله عليه صلاة الله لا إله إلا الله محمد نبي الله عليه صلاة الله لا إله إلا الله محمد نبي الله عليه صلاة الله لا إله إلا الله محمد شفيع الله عليه صلاة الله لا إله إلا الله محمد شفيع الله عليه صلاة الله والسلام الله بذكر الله تطمئن القلوب بلايا الله 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 حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل لمن ولا ونعم النصير لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم
حق
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم مغلوب يا غالبا غير مغلوب يا غالبا غير مغلوب يا غالبا غير مغلوب يا غالبا غير مغلوب يا شاهدا غير مغيب يا شاهدا غير مغيب يا شاهدا غير مغيب يا قالبا غير بعيد يا قالبا غير بعيد يا قالبا غير بعيد يا غالبا غير مغلوب يا غالبا غير مغلوب يا غالبا غير مغلوب.
الله ونعم الوكيل نعم المولى ونعم النصير لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. على أشرف العالمين سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم على أفضل العالمين سيدنا محمد صلوات على أكمل العالمين سيدنا محمد صلوات صلوات الله تعالى وملائكته والأنبياء والرسول وجميع خلقه على محمد وآل محمد عليهم السلام ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. ورضي الله تبارك وتعالى عن سادة أصحاب رسول الله أجمعين وعن التابعين بإحسان وأئمة المجتهدين المعدين والعلماء المتقين والأولياء الصالحين ومشايخنا في طريقة النقشبندية العلية قدس الله تعالى روحهم زكية ونور الله تعالى وجههم مباركة وعد الله تعالى من بركاته وفيوداته دائما والحمد لله رب العالمين. الفاتحة. Is the light there too? What's that one? Over the phone.
Off? On or off?
I don't know. That was there. I don't put lights everywhere.
Wasn't that
except for the flowers?
Wasn't that was for the...
Put on the flowers. should we put it on, see?
Huh?
Shall we turn it on?
I don't know.
It was too bright. It was too bright.
Was too bright?
If you like. Last time.
It was nice on the
On the video, should
video.
try and see if it's too blinding. I could like wear sunglasses. Does it work?
That one is
Doesn't work? It's like NASA. You guys, five guys are fucking light up light bulb on?
The moon landing.
Yeah, yeah. Is it the mic that doesn't work?
sketchy. What's the other like? Yeah, the small one. The small one that goes over. Yeah.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا ومولانا محمد المصطفى صلى الله عليه وسلم بمدرة من نزلكم سيدي يا رسول الكريم يا حبيب العظيم مدد يا سيدي يا سلطان الأولياء والشيخ عبد الفايز الداغستاني سيدنا الشيخ محمد ناصر الخفاني مدد يا سيدي يا مولانا الشيخ هشام كمال مدد حق حجة الله المخلص بمددكم من نزلكم أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أطيعوا الله أطيعوا الرسول وأولي الأمر منكم. And always a reminder for myself, and Abdul Ajiz, Da'ifu, Miskeen, Zahar, Mujahad, and by the grace of Allah that we're still in existence. For Allah's rahmah to dress us and to bless us on this way of muhabbat and love, and always a reminder for myself that our faith is based on muhabbat, and they make everything very simple for us, that this path of ours is based on that love. The way is love, and that the nourishing of that love and all the adab and the character of what Allah wants from a beloved. So that I've seen, and we've all probably seen, people talking about love while they're yelling and screaming. Has to be probably one of the most bizarre sights imaginable, the screaming and yelling about love. And in today's world there are large masses of people who try to talk about the love of Sayyidina Muhammad and begin to introduce violence and anger and all sorts of corrupt characteristics, and try to say that that's okay in the way of the love of Sayyidina Muhammad. Means that in our last days everything is a hypocrisy, that now they're trying to even fool us with love. I think that was in Islam. Means that every type of badness has been done, and now through the ocean of muhabbat and Divinely love, shaitan wants to do bad. And the reminder for us is that our iman is directly connected to muhabbat, that how to increase our faith is how to increase our love by actions of love that are selfless and not selfish. That's why everything they're teaching and doing, when we serve, when we come, when we do, when we clean, when we give, everything in that way, because it's the hardest. We work hard for what Allah gave to us. When you give is the equivalence of modern day jihad. They were giving their lives, they had families, they had children, they had responsibilities, and they would run out with Prophet twice a day for some battles. So it means that the equivalent today is to give what from Allah has given to our lives. That is a big struggle. All of these actions increase the love and muhabbat. It increases the connection of one's heart to what they believe in, because belief without an action is cheap, is worthless. It's just by tongue, where Allah clarifies, I'm going to seal your tongue. Because everybody has a good talk but they don't walk the walk. I think you heard that in song too. Yeah, these are phrases. There's nothing new under the sun. There's nothing new that Allah hasn't seen, hasn't heard. He's listening all the time. Oh wow, these guys are pretty clever. Not really. They were probably clever, more clever thousands of years ago. Means everything is a repeat. So they come into our lives to encourage us. The more that we do from these actions of love, the more that we try to show that love for Sayyidina Muhammad. What is it that I can do on a daily basis that shows and magnifies my love for Prophet that should be directly increasing my faith? If at any time I feel I'm going to be clever and begin to stop doing those things, what it actually is telling you is actually your faith is dropping. You are not clever, nobody is cheating Allah, nobody is fooling Allah. We only fool ourselves. Thinks, I'm going to be clever, and the awliya come, shaykhs come into our life and remind us, no, we're actually drifting from that love. And every excuse possible comes, I don't have the time, shaykh, I have so many expenses, I really can't make it to the zikr, can't do this, can't do that. Every can't, and before you know the faith is diminishing, the person is drifting, and you hear less and less from them until the wind has taken them away like a leaf in a storm. And that's why they come into our life and inspire, no, be active. The khidmat that we do in our life is what opens this rahmah. Be of service, be active, be proactive in your faith, in which every night, Ya Rabbi, give me something to do that increases my love for Sayyidina Muhammad. To be active in my participation and in my belief, and then I should feel my belief is to grow. And if I'm growing in my belief, I should be very kind and loving. Because everything has for us a very simple solution. If after 20 years I can't be kind to people, and I have to be aggressive and vociferous, and this is not only for ourselves, because this is like a doctor school. I don't know who's going to be a doctor out there, Allah has written who's going to be the next shaykh and teacher, but it's still like a residency. When you accompany the shaykhs, they train you on all of these character deficiencies. So one, you identify it within yourself, and you identify it in every patient you come across. So with somebody who has 20, 30 years of practices, and you deal with them and say, Ajib, why is this person so angry? And they've been praying for 20, 25, 30, 35 years. They've been giving, they've been doing everything, and they didn't reach even to love and muhabba, to be kind, to be patient, to be caring. All of the qualities that Allah wants. Allah doesn't need the actions. It's the character Allah wanted, so He prescribed praying. Does Allah need your salah? It gives power to the heavens. The throne gets like juice from every time you go Allahu Akbar, you make your movements, and the throne becomes more stronger and stronger. Astaghfirullah. Nothing. Your salah not even seen. Your zakah, does it endow the heavens with tremendous amounts of cash? Like the Vatican, the heavens are very wealthy because of our zakat? Nothing. All of these usul were meant to bring the good character. Allah said, your first pillar is bear witness there's nothing but me. So that not your ego, not yourself, not your life but me, everything is my Divinely Presence. I bear witness that there is no God but Allah and the Sayyidina Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. The second usul was for shahada and the salah. I was not to pray thinking I'm famous for praying, I pray, he doesn't pray, I pray, she doesn't pray. No, Allah says, you pray and you should have had good character. Can you imagine meeting people who maybe prayed, you look at them, they're like 70 years old praying and they're very angry, mean people. You think Allah needed that 70 years of prayer and you didn't change? Must be the most stubborn donkey that ever created. After 2 years, if it beat the donkey, you don't think he would have good manners? That every time you get on he kicks you, every time you put a load on he throws it. Even Allah's creation not like that. So it means these usul, these practices were not meant to be proud of, but were to bring about the perfected character. Allah knows this creation. Says this wildness of your being, if you don't prostrate and put your head to the ground and acknowledge my supremacy, it will never be tamed. And you'll be praying for 70 years and you'll still be an angry, corrupt, cheap, miserly person. For what? What, Allah needed your salah? You enter the grave with actions that didn't count. So the turuqs come and teach that you do that prayer to tame your beast and remind yourself, oh my God, Ya Rabbi, please I have to make my prayers, remind me to make my prayers. I have to pray to bring down my bad characteristic. And every time you're in sujood, you begin to talk to Allah that please take my bad character away. Make me to be a good person, don't let me to be a munafiq. Don't worry about unbelievers. Don't worry about say this one he's Christian, this one he's Jew. The most dangerous one is the one who says he's Muslim and he's next to you. Biggest danger for Prophet was a munafiq, not an unbeliever, because the unbeliever is not an unbeliever, he believes in what Allah wants him to believe. The real unbeliever, the most dangerous, the one whom next to you says he's with you but trying to work against you. Then the munafiq within the self, Allah's teaching. This your most dangerous enemy, not the enemy outside, the enemy inside. The inside your camp and inside yourself. So then everything about myself has to be identified, Ya Rabbi, don't let me to be munafiq. Don't let me say one thing to people and I do something different. Don't let me call people to goodness and I, when no one's looking, go to every type of badness and begin to think, oh I'm above common people. I do the bad and I urge them to do good. And you enter now into hypocrisies and the oceans of hypocrisy, which are the worst of Allah's characters. Unbeliever is not a problem because he believes exactly what Allah wants him to believe. So that hidden hypocrisy within ourselves when they're praying, when they come to the zakah, they're not happy about what they gave, they're distraught about what they didn't give and why their hand trembled when their heart knew what they should have given and they didn't. And Allah will ask them in the grave or will take it from them in this world. There's no fooling Allah. We said this when we first came. If Allah wants, for example, $500 from you, $100 from you, and you think to yourself, I'm going to be clever, I'm not going to do it, I feel in my heart I'm inspired, I'm not going to do it. You drive down the street, the police pull you over and they give you a $175 ticket. Instantly. You go home, your oven breaks. $500, call the mechanic. When Allah wants something, Allah gets something. Now, was it your good character that you were willing to do it voluntarily? It will be written for you. That your hands were generous, you came to Allah always like this. And Allah always sends somebody like this away with lots. If you come to Allah like this, the most you're going to get is probably somebody who punches you back because you're tight-fisted. Allah sends you another tight-fisted and two tight-fisted people, right? You go to Allah always generous, always giving, always loving, Allah send you away. Can charity be lost in Allah's way? Allah give you much more, that you become for Allah a flowing pot. That no matter I give this servant is flowing from them, then they reach the reality of their servanthood. Allah flow through them maybe millions because they know that they're like a flowing pot that give out to everything and they do everything Allah ordered for them to do. So it means even the zakah is not something to be proud. It was to perfect our character. That's why zakah is to clean. Didn't mean generous, it meant to be clean. Fasting was not something for Ramadan to brag about. I'm fasting, everybody's eating, oh these horrible people, look they're all having hamburgers, I'm so great with Allah, I'm fasting right now. Means none of these amals were anything to be proud of. And awliya come into our life and teach us, negate your amal. Do it because Allah ordered it, but in your heart and in your mind never speak of it as something to be boastful, haqq. Not to be boasting, I'm fasting, but thank God, Ya Rabbi, you gave me the health and the ability to do that fast. And when I fast, to feel the compassion of those that don't have food to eat all the time. don't have drink to eat all the time. When you watch the starving of the Yemeni people and the plight all over the world of difficulty, how horrible is it in a perpetual state of fasting. They cannot break, they cannot eat, nothing. And it softens the heart and makes the insan to be compassionate and passionate. They have a passion for humanity because of the struggling and the strife in which they've witnessed themselves. If you're always full, you would never be compassionate about hungry people. Forget about the spiritual sense and those realities, we're talking just from the level of tazkiyah and cleaning. It opens a passion for people that God forbid the people who are hungry, I don't like that feeling. And that a compassion, that my duty should be to help people to eat, to be of service to those who are less fortunate, and struggle and strive with what Allah gave me. If you can't fast all day long to feel the difficulty, then at least work hard and give to people who are giving to those who are less fortunate. And when you give with your faith as if to prevent a day of difficulty for yourself, it's an insurance. Ya Rabbi, from the days that you gave me, I gave to those who are in need. Save my children and myself from harm. Don't let me to leave this world and to look back and see that my children ended up hungry. And that I passed hungry people laughing, how they're like that, maybe their brain doesn't work and I go about my life. And God forbid you find one day your child's brain doesn't work and is out on the street and hungry, God forbid. Everything has a way of coming back for Allah. So then they live a life of passion and compassion. Ya Rabbi, forgive them, forgive these people who are sick, get me to be of service, give me an ability to help them. And when they go home at night they cry, Ya Rabbi, from that help save my children, save the people whom I love and my grandchildren and from my community. So the zakah was not something to be proud of, but was to perfect my character, because all of this is the inheritance of khuluqul azim, the inheritance of Prophet what Allah described of the character. And my hajj, my pilgrimage was to bring all of these characteristics to the front and say, now I'm ready to go to your presence, my Lord. I struggled with my belief, I put your supremacy above everything. I tried my prayers to tame my bad character, I gave of myself to purify myself. Now labbaik Allahumma labbaik, you're calling and I'm coming. I'm coming as an abdukul ajis or da'if or miskin, zalim and jahal. I pray that you accept me into your presence. Not that I bought a $20,000 ticket, VIP golden pass, and that I'm like so special, I'm God's gift to creation. It's completely different character. And being so happy with what they did of Hajj, instead of thinking that Allah accepted what I did and I'm coming as nothing into His Divine presence. And that, Ya Rabbi, grant me from your light, grant me from your love. All of those worshipness become acts of love. When the zakah is from love, when the fasting is from love, when the hajj is from love, when the movement is from love, Allah perfects the faith of that servant and makes their love open up the doors of iman and they reach to nur of iman. We pray that Allah dress us, bless us from these lights and grant us that in our days of difficulty and testing, reminder for myself is that don't ask why you're being tested, but what's the wisdom of the test. Everything Allah says is, I show you upon the horizon and within yourself. The disease of the self is very difficult to understand, but when you look to the outside of why this world is doing this to you, you'll understand what Allah wants from you. Sometimes people don't listen to themselves, oh I know I have bad care, I know I'm stubborn, I know I'm like that. And if boss come and yell at you, then you understand what Allah wants from you. We pray that Allah give us the ability to look in, to understand what is it that Allah wants from us, so that that test stops. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifoon, wa salaamun al mursaleen, walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Bi hurmati Muhammad al-Mustafa wa Surah al-Fatiha. All right.
These mics are all on, guys.